One time I almost got stabbed.
Mm.
I have never had a regular job. I don't look at making music as a job.
Yeah.
Up until the moment then it's finished. He said, smile while you record it. And I've never recorded a record smiling. And I literally went, you got your options. And it opened up like a new...
I said, it's nothing to me. Ain't new to the ring. I son anybody who wanted with me. The stupidity. If it's I and it's you, then one of these things is losing to me. Who could it be? Will it be you? Indubitably.
Post Fader, the Undisputed podcast for the independent music industry, with your hosts Clef Wonder, Jordan, and Calvin II.
This is the first episode of the Post Fader, where we have a guest.
Yes, sir.
First guest episode of the Post Fader, and we have an incredible guest here today. I just want to introduce him, you know what I'm saying? Let you guys know who we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So, multi-hyphenate. And as y'all know, that's sort of like the cliche LA story. But I can personally attest to the fact that this guy right here functions highly in each hyphenate. So I'm gonna give you the rundown, okay? Okay?
Okay.
We got independent artists, millions of streams.
Ooh.
You might know his records like Baby, you know what I'm saying? Records like The Process.
Hey.
We out here.
Oh, he did that?
Producer. Oh, he did.
Oh, damn.
Producer with cuts. We're talking household names, remixes and cuts on artists like Beyonce. Have y'all heard of her?
Oh, yeah, she's new.
D Smoke, Sid the Kid.
Nice.
Work with Rihanna. You know what I'm saying? We got multi-instrumentalists. My guy does it all. We got DJ, world-renowned DJ. Whatever city he's in, whatever country he's in, we're talking sold-out shows in 10 minutes.
That's impressive.
Shout out Stay Hydrated.
Hey.
Most importantly, though, we got a humble, good-natured human being in the building with us. Give it up for Full Crate, y'all.
Hey.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
He smells
Thank
good,
you.
y'all.
Thank you for having me.
You sure do. Yep. Smell good, look good. What's good, man?
Ooh.
How you feeling today?
Feeling good. How you feeling?
Bro, I feel incredible. Thank you for
Beautiful.
gracing us with your presence. You know
Thank
what
you
I'm
for
saying?
having me.
Bro, I want to like really unpack your journey today.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to start from the top of the top of the top. The genesis.
All right, let's go.
What was the moment that you realized I have a gift? Or someone else realized it in you and nurtured it?
I like that question. I don't know if anybody's ever asked me that question, which I do really like. I'd say high school. My parents probably, because they kind of low-key made me take piano lessons and choir lessons,
Nice.
as parents should do for their
Yeah,
kids.
dude,
They want
give
their
them
kids
something to
to
do.
do well.
Although we hate it when they do it at the time.
At the time.
As a kid, you're
Yeah,
like,
you got a
why
skill.
do I have to do this?
Mhm.
I think high school would be a period. That's where I started doing a bunch of things that inspired me at the time for different reasons.
Okay.
One of them would be being an insecure high school kid.
Yeah.
But the bigger reason was because I was just so into it that I couldn't stop trying. I think I was just trying different things out to see, like, is this me? Is this me? And I loved all of it.
Oh, I love
You know, like I was a kid that loved and won, so I was on the street playing ball all the time. But I also loved b-boying because hip hop was like my main everything growing up since I was like 13. So, you know, graffiti was a thing. Cool, I guess I got to do graffiti now, you know? And then rapping. Everybody was rapping. Everybody was trying to be a rapper. I wasn't doing battles necessarily, but I was definitely trying to write. Like, I probably have books somewhere where I was writing rhymes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was definitely trying to sing. Yeah, man. I think that's the period where I realized that people would give feedback. When I started DJing at 16,
Okay.
that's when I got the feedback from people like, wait, I would do high school parties. And I always remember the girls coming to me and be like, oh my God, you're so good, like when you play. And I was like, ooh.
That's what gets all of us, bro.
That's how you get you.
So
That's how they get you.
I think that was...
It's the allure. It's the allure.
I think that was the first time that I realized, like, hey, I don't think I realized it at the time, though. I was just so
Oh, yeah, I
preoccupied
can see
with
that.
doing what I love. I think it came later when people start paying me.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when you realize,
That's how I
wait.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Yeah.
Go ahead. My bad.
No, go ahead.
Now I was going to say, so you talk about your like affinity for hip hop and hip hop culture. You were in Amsterdam at this point, correct?
That point I was in Amsterdam, but I'm originally from Armenia.
Okay.
So we left Armenia early 90s, and my dad got invited to do a job, but that I'm describing it very like quickly now.
Yeah.
but that whole transition from Armenia to Amsterdam was through Russia, early 90s. So it was definitely an interesting and challenging time. Because we left Armenia for a lot of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, there was a war going on the border. We weren't directly affected by the war. Like, I didn't see any war growing up. Excuse me. But I definitely remember the effect it had on the economy and the country. Like, not having hot water, no electricity, and just limited electricity, like from a certain time to a certain time. So that was my childhood. So funny enough, earlier we were talking about COVID and how I remember having a house meeting in my parents' house when COVID hit, when we were about to be like, okay, let's go in quarantine type thing. And I remember us as a family going, well, nothing new here. We've been doing that like back home. Like we had times where you have to think about how we're gonna ration and all this stuff. So so those are the times. So we went to Russia, and then from Russia we went to Amsterdam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
My dad's a geologist, so he was always traveling for work. And for those that don't know what geology is.
Hey, bro, why you calling me out, though? Why you calling me out?
No. Some people, it's hard for certain humans.
There's different, I don't know how to say it. There's different directions within geology, I would think. My dad, as far as I know, he's a doctor of science now, which is like the highest.
Now, quick question about that. Do you feel anything that your dad did influence what you do in any way? Because that's kind of like extreme.
Every day.
Yeah.
I would say I'm definitely a geeky kid. Like I love science. I love math. I'm really good at that. And on the other side, my mom, she used to be a ballet dancer, is a ballet teacher now.
Okay.
And my mom's side of the family is all like artists. My grandpa was a painter, and my grandma was a costume designer.
Oh, I love that.
So my dad is very talented in arts too, but his profession is science. So I feel like I'm just like this melting pot of best of both.
That makes a lot of sense, bro.
Wow.
There's nothing that my parents couldn't figure out. And that was the example that I grew up with.
Yeah. No, that's good, because I think a lot of times, like, I don't know, when you say being an artist or being technical, I feel like to be an artist, you have to be technical.
You don't have to be technical.
I don't know, man.
In this day and age, it might be a better, it will be like clutch if you can be technical, but you still don't have to. You can still hire people to do things for
That's
you.
true.
Yeah.
So if you just have gobs of money to do that, then sure.
I mean, I think that's the difference. Because I've had watch this. I had people hit me up and say, man, like I want to do music, but I can't afford a studio.
Okay, well, that's
hold on.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, those Jordans you're wearing right now, unless somebody gave them for free. Unless somebody gave them for free.
I didn't know I was getting the word today.
Do you know what I mean?
I wholeheartedly agree.
Then I'm like, you don't want it bad enough, because then you should switch out if you bought the shoes. If you didn't buy them, no worries. But if you bought the shoes, and this is an adult talking to me that I know has a job, right? So then I'm like, you don't want it bad enough, because you can go and buy the Focusrite interface pack with the it's not gonna be the best.
No, but you can get something out. No, I've said the same thing to people. They're like, you got a lot of equipment. I was like, look, this is my thing instead of shoes and clothes. Exactly. It's like, look, I mean, I look nice, but I'm not gonna buy $200-$300 shoes. No, I'd rather get a preamp or a mic or something and step up my game, or buy a class.
But here's the thing: you say step up your game. I've noticed that I think my hobby, when it comes to kind of like treating myself with money, I love investing into my career.
Absolutely.
So whether it's a camera or a lens or a new mic or whatever, and I always do those things. I don't care about brands. I don't care about, I can literally go to the dollar store and still look fly. Wearing whatever you buy at the dollar store or whatever,
Yeah.
So
I've been doing that my whole life.
Except for the flat part.
That's
I'm
funny.
sure you can pull it off. It's like I'm bougie, but it's not money bougie. It's taste bougie. There's a difference.
Ooh, Lord.
Look, thrift stores, you can pull up. You go to a thrift store, you'll be good. They have some stuff that you want to be like one-of-a-kind pieces. Yeah. I get more compliments on stuff that I get from thrift stores and stuff that like I got off a rack that was like
at the end of the day, it's not what you wear, it's how you wear it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that goes with everything. It's not what kind of song you make. It's how you make it sound. And it's not what you sing, it's how you sing it. It's the delivery at the end of the day.
How you inject your identity into
it.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, in terms of like, I feel like there's like a social element to what shapes our artistry, and then there's like a household element. I'm curious to know like the sounds you remember hearing like at your crib. You know what I'm saying? Like in the house.
It's a vivid memory. I'd say my first musical memory outside of classical music, because my mom, well, you know, as a ballet dancer, that's what you're exposed to with the classical music. And I was classically trained as a kid because I played piano and I sang in a choir, and it was all classical music. Outside of that, I'd say my first memory of music, my dad had those cassette players, like a Walkman, but like the OG ones.
Yeah.
My dad had one of those. My parents had them, and I remember listening to it. And the first record I remember listening to was Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Which one?
I don't remember what record.
Okay.
Ooh.
But it was probably, you know.
Do you have any visuals of how it looked at all?
Nah. I just remember, I definitely know, I can tell you what songs it could have been.
Oh, well, yeah. That's it.
I mean, I just called Isn't She Lovely? It was those records. It was like the big records. Also, you have to understand that the access to music or art from the Western world, in the world where I grew up in Armenia, is a whole different access. Like my dad was telling me stories that when he was growing up, the music that he listened to anything and everything, a lot of rock music, you know, a lot of 50s, 60s, 70s music, growing up in the 80s too. A lot of it was illegal when he was a teenager.
What?
So they would have
like
to
Stevie Wonder was illegal.
Maybe not Stevie,
okay.
But I know like, I'm not sure, but I know a lot of the records, because this is the era of like, there's been wars and the worlds are very separated. So like a lot of things are import.
Right.
You know, so that the time of like Woodstock and all the rock acts, my dad was telling me stories of him. My dad would literally sneak into a basement with the homies, and there's like somebody found a record because somebody imported it from somewhere, and they would listen to records. So when you think about that, that's the way they experience their first time hearing Led Zeppelin or, you know, any of those kind of like big acts. It makes you realize like, damn, like we spoiled now. You can
super spoiled. Man,
you know,
it's insane.
I mean, I'm not as spoiled because I still grew up with vinyl at the household with cassettes. Like I would still have to go and physically buy music, even outside of being a DJ. But yeah.
Dope, man. And so, okay, so we're talking about your influences and sort of like the support you got in your household. I'm curious to know, like all that turned into you turning a profit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm wondering, how soon did that happen from you discovering you loved it to like, I'm out here in these streets, I'm like, you know, in high school DJing parties, girls like me, to like, yo, I can monetize this. Like, was that soon? What did that take a minute? Like, what was that journey like?
It was pretty soon for me because I started DJing at 16 and I got my first big club gig at 19.
Dang.
So you have to understand, nowadays, if somebody starts DJing, they can start DJing and the same month they can be booked in a club because it's on some like homies and, you know, social media, this and that. At the time, first of all, nobody's going to know that you're DJing.
Yeah.
There's no social media. And nobody cares.
Yeah.
You know, you have to, you know, I would have to go to the record store. Shout out my guy Dimmy in Amsterdam. He used to run the Fat Beats record store, which is like a really famous record store that they had. I think they're from New York originally, but they had a record store in Amsterdam as well. And I would go there and I would want to buy records because the DJ I started playing with vinyl. That's why Full Crate, because I had full crates of vinyl. And I would literally go in there and be like, can I have that record? And he would say, nah, you didn't earn your credit. Like you didn't earn your.
That's interesting.
Because they only have 10 copies of something. So he's like, I'm not gonna sell it to you. I know who you are.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do with this record? And then he would literally tell me, like, get on the turntables and show me what you got. And then I would get on it, and he was like, you're not ready for this. He's like, you know what, go into that section, you need the classics first.
Is Full Crate self-titled, or was it like, yo, he always got a Full Crate? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, did people call you that?
This is a story.
Okay.
I used to go by a different name. And
can you share that name? It's okay. It's okay. Boy Genius? What was it?
Bro. No, I used to go by Double N.
Double N?
Yeah, because my first and my last name started with an N. So the teachers in high school would always, first of all, they would stutter because my real name is Narek. And then my last name is a very long name, which I'm not going to pronounce.
It's okay.
And they would literally go, you know, when they do the checklist of like who's in class, when they got to my name, it got quiet. And that's why I knew like, oh, they're trying to pronounce my name. So they would say, in Dutch, they would say like, oh, the NN, the double N. Oh, wow. And that's
actually, that's not a bad name.
And I kind of went with the double N because it's like both of my name, you know.
So N and N.
That was the initial thing. And then at some point, I was like, no, I need something, you know, something different. I used to bring so many crates of vinyl to my DJ gigs when I started out that the OGs, like the DJs and the promoters, would always say like, look at that fool with all those crates. Mm-hmm. So the original idea was to call myself That Fool Crate, FOOL Crate.
Yeah.
But then my girlfriend at the time told me, shout out Nina, she told me, maybe don't call yourself a fool because it's like a kind of like a negative thing. Yeah. And at the time, it was not cool to, you know, make fun of yourself. Exactly. Yeah. So, and then she's like, maybe just call yourself Full Crate. And I was like, oh, I like that. And that's literally the word.
Dope, man. Yeah. And she gets 5% from like that. Right. That's so dope. Shout out
like the royalty.
Get your check, yo. He's rich now, so come on.
So you started getting bread at 19. And was this like local house parties? Were you
No, this was one of the biggest clubs.
Okay.
It was the Melkweg Club, which is the Milky Way. It's still the club. One of the
still
club.
Open now?
It's still the.
Have you ever gone? Have you gone back since?
Oh, bro, I still play it. Like I headline shows. But I headline shows there, and it was interesting. It was like a full circle moment to me, starting there as a DJ and doing like their weekly party, to then years later headlining as an artist and singing with a band.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insane.
Playing 2 sold out shows. So it was definitely an interesting full circle moment. But yeah, that was the moment where I was like, whoa, I can actually live. Like, okay, you can't live off of that at that time. But you have to understand, I'm fresh out of high school.
Oh yeah. Can't tell me nothing.
And I'm making a night to DJ. And at the time, nobody was DJing 1 hour. Yeah. You're DJing 5-hour sets.
That's why you had a full crate.
Vinyl. That's why I had a bunch of full crates. And yeah, man, I remember when I started dating my girl, I didn't have enough credit on my phone because at the time you would have, you know, how you would top up your phone with credit. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking to myself, I'll make money now. I can have like a higher credit on my phone so I can talk to her more. And that was the indication for me that I'm like, you know, I got money now. Like I'm doing well.
Yeah.
It was relatively, it wasn't like a lot of money.
Nah,
but I was probably making what an average 19-year-old was making with a regular side job while trying to do college or whatever.
Yeah, which is something fun that you wanted to do. Yeah.
And I loved it. So I didn't care about the money like that, but I did realize quite early on. It was an interesting sentence to pronounce out loud, what I'm about to say. Mm-hmm. I have never had a regular job. I've never done anything.
Me neither.
I've had side jobs during college because my college professor told me, you can't study here and DJ. It's affecting your studies. So my college professor asked me to stop DJing while I was still
Was he a hater?
Nah, I understood what he meant because I was literally either not pulling up to the morning lectures that I really needed, or I would pull up and be too sleepy because I played a gig before the night before that.
Okay.
So that's the only time during college is where I've had a job, which I worked as a chef before at a Japanese restaurant. And
that's kind of a normal job.
Yeah, but
but it's not like an office.
It's not like I've never had an office 9-to-5 job.
I think most importantly, you've never really had to have a job. It was more like, let me be more
like
studious.
Working at a place for a year.
I've always
figured
it out with music.
Yeah. But you discovered your gift and what would ultimately sustain you at an early age.
There's been different layers because there's definitely been times where I didn't have money to eat.
Yeah.
But I remember having my first apartment, living on my own. My rent was, I want to say like around $300.
Is that Amsterdam dollars or?
I was like,
it was 300 euro at the time. And there was a moment there where I paid my rent and I didn't have enough money to buy groceries to eat. So I had a piggy bank with like a bunch of coins in it and I would eat off of that. I would buy like noodles and stuff. And watch this, I can go to my parents. I can go to my parents. I can call my parents and ask them for help, or I can just like go to my parents and just have them cook food, you know? And I remember specifically not wanting to do that because I wanted to know what it's like to understand that if I'm not going to put in the work and if I'm not smart with my money, I'm not going to eat.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's important.
You know? And so I sat there for a week and I ate those noodles, understanding that if I don't if I don't calculate the money correctly, and if I buy a bunch of records, which is, yes, it's needed for my work, but if I buy that without having money to eat.
And moderation.
But that started also in high school. My parents would give me allowance for food, and I would spend all that money on records.
Yeah. You're like, I'm eating anyway. I'm good.
I'll figure it out, So I think making money has never been a priority up until you, you become an adult. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I got bills.
Yeah. You got bills.
Now, where did the change come from you being, full-time DJ to now it's like you're actually writing songs? Because that's a good transition there.
That has been quite a long transition. I would say from a DJ perspective, I always wanted to make music. I just didn't have the tools at the time.
Yeah.
And a homie of mine, who's a DJ and a producer, a really dope guy from Amsterdam. His name is Abstract, DJ Abstract. I remember he gave me Reason, which is a software to make music.
I remember Reason.
Yeah.
I hate Reason.
It was exactly how I started it.
I tried to use it.
Crazy. Shout out Dennis Porter.
Shout out, honestly.
I know that name, though. That's funny. I use it.
Dennis Porter gave me Reason. I started.
Yeah.
But he gave me my start.
It did.
So he showed me how to use Reason. So I started making beats, but these were, it's so funny how we go back to, it's like interesting to say that. Shout out Nina one more time. I talked to her this morning. This is my first girl, out of high school, my first real relationship after I got out of high school. And we're still friends. That's still, that's my homie.
The 5% checks got to keep coming. So I know y'all got
to. I remember my first beats I was playing for her.
Aww.
My first girl, I was like, "What do you think is dope or not?"
It was sweet. I wasn't trying to be funny.
No, but it was realistic because
I have a heart.
Who else am I gonna play it for?
Exactly.
Right. So when I was playing my first beats, she would always tell me "Yo, but I love you, but this is not great."
Oh,
the snare doesn't sound. No, but it hurt my feelings, obviously.
Yeah.
But I also understood that cool, just wait. And it's funny, she sent me a message this morning on Instagram because Jordan and I just released a new song yesterday. The Process.
Congrats.
Thank you. And she sent me a message saying yo, you sound so great because I sing and we produced the record, And I literally told her this morning, I was like, remember that time when I was playing you those beats with those whack ass snares? And she just laughed. I was like, yeah, so it's definitely.
That's nice that you rubbed it in her face like that. Remember you didn't believe me?
I didn't. Nah, I was like that.
Now?
Listen. Nah, everybody always believed. And so there's been different transition from DJ to producer, from producer to songwriter, and sometimes I do vocals. And then the transition from songwriter to singer and a full-time artist, I think was me I always wanted to sing.
Yeah.
Let's get that straight. I always wanted to be the artist I am today. But I didn't know how to do it because I was surrounded by talented people that I thought, well, they should do it. Why would I sing if they do it better?
Yeah.
And it was an interesting thing when I started writing demos for people. I would record the demos myself and send it to them. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember who it was the first time that told me that, but I started getting why would you want me to sing it? You sound kind of nice on it. It's kind of cool. Why don't you sing it? And maybe it came from them not wanting to be on my record, or they didn't know how to tell me that they didn't like it. But it kept on happening where people are like, yo, you actually sound really dope.
Yeah.
And these are people that I trust.
I think it's way less of, in my experience, when I've delivered demos, not with me on it, but with, I've delivered demos with him on it, a few other people that I've worked with, and when I get back that response, a lot of times it's because they're insecure about the recording. So they feel like the demo will be better than their master. And so they're like, they're afraid of having a song where the demo sounded better than them.
So, never thought about it that way. Interesting.
Oh, no. There's people.
Absolutely.
And then there's the people who have what we call demoitis, where the first time they heard the record, if it blew their mind, no matter what they do from that point, it will never sound as good as that.
Oh, yeah.
They can't unhear it.
They can't unhear it all the time.
Yeah. So, quick question. You've been traveling around the world since you were a kid. How do you sound more American than me? I don't understand that. I feel like you were like, I just got here a couple years ago. And I'm like, what? How do you have such an American accent?
I think growing up as a kid, I grew up on Americana. So like movies and music. I think my brain just naturally gravitates towards the U.S. pronunciation of English.
Okay.
I speak a bunch of languages.
Yeah. How many specifically?
4 fluently, read and write.
Okay.
The 5th,
What's the 5th in?
German.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Yeah.
That's such
Nice.
a flex.
Like I can understand. I can, you
can get
order
by.
things. I can get by with, and I can understand most conversations, but I'm not going to be able to have like a podcast conversation like this.
Okay,
in
cool.
German.
Good.
But the other 4 is Armenian, Russian, English, and Dutch. It's all fluent.
Oh, that's great, dude.
Yeah.
Good
So
stuff.
It's funny because I feel like when you're talking sometimes, I do hear more of a Russian accent on certain words. And I was just like, well,
that's hella weird. Just definitely not the case.
Yeah,
I will fight you.
You're actually wrong.
Here's the
I will
thing. He
literally
said, hold
fight
on.
you.
No, that's what, because I was just like upstairs, I was like,
But do you know what the Russian accent is, though?
Yeah. How many
Because
Russians
I
do you
feel
know?
like you don't know. I would say more of an Armenian accent in my English. And if anything, it's that.
I'm only going based off like all of the like
Rocky and Bullwinkle, like Boris.
No,
and Natasha.
the people I went to school with, it's like they're all
Because
like,
I don't talk like this.
that's
It's not so hard for me to pronounce.
But here's the thing: I don't hear that. I don't hear that in my Russian friends. Like I don't hear. Like I hear that in the more the cliche
Yeah.
American
I was
version.
joking, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm allowed to.
For real,
fine.
No.
Here's the thing: I know most people is just like, "That's Russian." But I was just like,
Do the accent again right there.
what?
That's
Good
Russian.
example.
I'll play it with you.
But yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's like I hear certain things from my friends that are Russian, but maybe I do have friends who try to pretend like they're not Russian who are Russian. Maybe because of, and maybe that's why their accent's kind of fucked up.
That's interesting.
So
No,
he's
you sound
trying to say that
super-
my accent is fucked up.
Yeah.
No,
Dang,
no.
Clef. Come on, bro.
No, I said it was certain words. This is off camera. When you said a few words up there, I was like,
Are we recording? We're not recording?
and I was just like, that's just a dialect thing. But yeah.
Okay. Are we recording though? That was recorded.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just checking. You said off camera.
I said we had the conversation off camera.
Okay. I'm slow.
So, bro, we kind of talked about your journey from DJ to producer to songwriter. We touched on it a little bit. I'm curious to know, does any of those art forms feel most like home to you? Like, yo, this is like my element. You know what I'm saying? Which one of those, if any, feels most like home?
Oh man, right now, writing songs and singing
No word.
is the most home for me because it's the most challenging, and at the same time, it's my safe space.
That's interesting. I don't believe you. I think that DJing is still, I'm honest. I think that was a great answer and I love it, but I feel like DJing would absolutely be your home, most safety comfort thing.
Well, no, but there's a difference. First of all, it changes.
Oh, that's deep. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes I'm like, fuck, I gotta perform, I gotta DJ. I don't feel like doing it. It depends on like what. Like the past year and a half, I've been writing shit ton of music.
Yeah.
So that has been my safe space because that was my therapy session. And DJing meant for me going out and being social. Even like pandemic aside, it was still like, man, I gotta like make sure that this or that I'm socially and mentally ready to be out with people and take people give energy, take energy. So that's not always my safe space.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. But if I'm frustrated in the studio and I can't write a song, sometimes performing is my safe space. So it's all of it and none of it.
I'm glad you elaborated. That really makes sense and everything. Because, I mean, is it weird? Is it like, okay, that line between something being a job and then it being like this cool creative thing that I can still, but it doesn't feel as much of a job? I don't know. That's interesting.
I don't look at making music as a job.
Yeah.
Up until the moment then it's finished. When it's finished, then it becomes a job.
That's a bar. Expound upon that.
Okay, yeah,
I feel like I know what
go
you mean.
ahead. He's dropping stuff here.
Because if I start looking at creating music as a job in the moment while I'm creating, it's going to influence how I create.
Okay.
So a lot of creatives have said that, you know. I leave all of the thoughts like, it's just going to work. I just create.
Okay.
Well, at least I try to.
Yeah.
And then after I'm done, then I can see how can I put this out in whatever way, whether it's a financial or whatever, unless someone calls me and says, can you specifically make this and da-da-da-da-da? But even still then, when I lock in a creative mode, I don't see it as a job.
Yeah.
It's funny you talk about safe space. I realize like I have anxiety that I deal with almost on a daily basis, like a lot of people do. And I overthink a lot. So my mind is constantly going nonstop. And I've been trying to find ways to, slow it down a little bit or just be more present in a moment. And sometimes it's difficult in social settings, unless I'm hanging out with people that really make me feel safe and loved.
Yeah.
It's different. The one thing that helps, and I only realized this recently, is while I create in any type of art form. When I create, that's why I love building things. Because when I'm building, it's just like the overthinking stops and I'm just enjoying what I'm doing in the moment. So
I love that.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I think right now has been songwriting and singing because that's like my form of expression that I have to go through right now. But in terms of where do I feel most comfortable as a skill?
Yeah.
I mean, I say DJing because I've been doing that the most.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'd say overall creating.
Oh, that's fair.
Like that's overall creating, I enjoy creating.
I like that you said that because DJing is creating. I know it's a different type of creating, but it is creating.
It's the skill that I've poured. Nah, it's not the skill that I put. No, I'm not gonna be dishonest. I don't think DJing is the skill that I'm putting the most effort in. I think it's as a job, as the longest job I've had as a DJ. Because I've been DJing for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
A little over 20 years.
Yeah.
But I'd say creating is my skill.
No, I'll definitely believe that because even in putting together a DJ set and everything, you have all those crates. You are the vibe. You're creating an atmosphere. You're like directing where it can go and you're picking the elements that literally
Let me ask you a question.
People's bodies.
What makes you think that? Because when I said songwriting and singing, you said, I don't believe that. I think DJing. What makes you think that?
Just because I feel like your muscle memory is the place where it's going to be like, all right, if I could do nothing else, I can do this. That's why I like your breakdown of it. It's like, well, me being able to do it well and have a technical skill isn't the same as it being a safe space.
Exactly.
Because of the elements that go along with it. So I was like, dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, it shifts. It shifts and depends on.
Also that it doesn't, I never feel the same. Like that's one of the reasons I started releasing more music and everything. It's like I'm not gonna feel the same way about these songs. There's certain songs I can't even perform now because I just don't believe them. And it's just like not that they're bad songs. It's like okay, I'm not saying that verse. It's like
gotcha.
I cannot stand in front of people and perform this.
Yeah,
because it's just
we change as people.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I hate asking this question, but I love the answers that I get from it. No, seriously, I hate it. Don't. I'm not going there. Chill. What is your creative process? I hate asking that because
it's a fair question.
Yeah, it's fair. Because I hate when people ask me that, but the answers are so good.
There's not one way I go about creating anything.
I figured.
It could literally, like when it comes to creating music, it's whatever tools I have. If I only have my phone, I'll use a voice note and just sing the record, make the beat idea. I have so many voice notes of me just going,
yeah, same.
And then you make a beat out of it or you make a song or whatever. It depends on the tool. And then lately, because I've been more so focused on singing and writing music, it's become more about me focusing on that more than the composing side of it.
Yeah.
I just, have a guitar or a piano and then just write a whole song and then produce the song around it versus when I used to make beats and then write songs over it. So that has changed. So it shifts, but also depends on who do I work with, what space am I in. So I don't have one way to go, but it's like people, when I used to mainly do production, like, produce and make compositions and beats, people would say, so do you start with the drums or do you start? I mean, for me, I start with whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. Yesterday, I recorded my dishwasher making a weird sound because I think the two glasses were like hitting each other and it was making this clinging noise, but it was doing it on rhythm. So I was like, oh, I'm going to record.
I think the craziest idea I ever got, like I had a cat at one point and he just like walked across my keyboard And he just did this little melody, and I was like, "Yo!" I immediately I wrote a song.
Watch this, you guys hear this
it was
first.
crazy, and I was like, "Dang, do I got to give him credit on this?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm paying all his bills."
I have a voice note that says "Wash your sound, loop for beat." And this is what it sounds like. Watch.
Please,
I haven't made a beat yet out of this, but it's gonna be a song at some point.
Let's go. Okay, that's hot.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Hey, look, yo. I'm playing. So speaking of your process, bro, I think one of the things I admire about you is that you are very resourceful in how you create, and you're definitely someone who's like, yo, like I'm gonna pull in so and so to like help me with this top line, and I'm gonna get this, you know what I'm saying, this instrumentalist to come and play this part. I'm wondering, because a lot of creatives that I know are very possessive, you know, around their art. I'm wondering, were you always so open to just being a vessel for creativity?
Wow. Nah.
So how did you get there? I'm curious to know how you got there.
I love that question because that's something that I had to ask myself at some point. All of us have an ego, especially as creatives. You just, why would I ask somebody if I could do it myself? And some people have like money motives. We're like, well, if I have more people on a song, that means that I'm giving out more shares and that I'm,
Yeah.
I came to the conclusion that there's not one way to get to the end result for me.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I work on a record and I do everything myself because I can play the instruments. Do I play them as well as all of these super professional musicians? No, I mean, I'm a professional musician, but I'm not a musician that you should ask to play in your band because I'm not skilled enough with that particular instrument.
Yeah.
It's enough for me to play it from my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think I realized that I needed help the moment I just started collaborating with people and learning and realizing that, if I just open up to creating with other people and put my ego aside, the results are so amazing.
Yeah. Nah, I used to call that the Prince sickness. Like everybody just wanted to be Prince at some point, and I can do everything. I can play all the instruments, and it's
I've
like
never wanted that.
No.
I don't know. Right,
dude. I just grew up on Prince, and so I admired that, and I had to let go of that thing because it was just like, one, that's a whole just a unique moment in time. Two, it's like I have fun working with people. It's fun. It's quick. I like to go and get an idea down, and I love when people bring ideas to the table. To where it's like, oh, cool. This would have taken me longer, but now, okay, he's working on the drums, doing this and that, and we're done. Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. So I could bump out 5 songs in a time it would have taken me to get like maybe 1 or 2.
There's that. There's the productivity side to it, but I also say, I think I let go of that the moment that I knew I already earned my stripes. With that. Like at some point, I didn't feel like I needed to prove myself as a producer or a beat maker. For me personally, other people might disagree, but me personally, I was like, I think I've done what I wanted to do to claim that I can do this on my own. To me, a great producer, if we're talking about producing, sometimes a producer doesn't even know how to play any instruments or touch any programs or machines or anything. It's just the ideas that you have.
Exactly.
And I noticed that to answer your question, Jordan, I think I enjoy the role of creating and composing altogether more than I enjoy claiming that I did everything on a record. Because at the end of the day, I oversee the ideas. If I work with a guitar player or piano player, I a lot of times say, can you play, and they'll give me like options. I'll be like, well, that one. Oh, can we go minor instead of major on that one? And it's at the end of the day, you're collaborating, and sometimes I use it as tools. Sometimes it's just inspires me. And sometimes I can just, like, me and you working together and writing a song, like, I've never seen anybody write the way Jordan writes. So that was a lesson for me to be like, ooh, dope. So my song with him would never sound like that song had it not because after he did his part, I went back and composed other things around it.
Right.
So it's like you said, you gotta find that back and forth. But I let go of that ego because I just realized my favorite records vary from a Prince that did everything by himself to someone else who has like 30 people on a record.
I would say it's rare that most of my favorite songs were done by 1 or 2 people.
I
don't know.
And you think about
I don't even know if I have. I have like
especially anything that came out in the last
that I think
5 years.
that someone did mostly all of themselves or all of themselves, and I think I love it a lot. And it's in like my top 5 of songs, and that's like Jacob Calais stuff. But not other than that.
I mean, I'm talking about a song that has like high level production, not just like guitar and vocals. Because like, okay, those, there's gonna be a lot of those.
If I'm not mistaken, Miguel did Adorn. I believe he like wrote, produced, and recorded the whole thing. I don't know for a fact, but that's what I've heard.
No, and it might be. Yeah. And I love that stuff. But I don't think it's. I really lean towards everything that you're saying because one, it's not necessary. Two, yes, I know I can do it. I could probably drive a car off my feet.
Yeah.
I don't want, like, it's not always worth, like, what's the goal? At the end of the day, I want to create more moments that are possible to be these not tangible, but audible things that people can put in their lives. I want to be the soundtrack of people's lives. So if the fastest way is getting there is on one day I'm doing it, great. If I can do it, well, also fast and quality too, because I don't want to just speed through a whole bunch of things that aren't good. But if I'm able to, however I can get it done, it's how I want to do it. And I enjoy working with other people. So that's just like,
same.
All right.
I think it's the combination of learning, enjoying the process, pun intended, and just generally, I don't know, man. I believe in there's more than one way to get to the end result. And I never think about it like, okay, this one I'm gonna do it like this. It's like I start, and if I feel like I would want somebody's input or help. Like I had a session today with an incredible singer, and we sat down and started working, and I produced the core idea. We started writing the record together. We cut down her vocals, and right at the end of the session, I was like, I'm gonna find someone who's gonna help me finish this record because the things that I'm hearing, I'm not gonna be able to do on my own. Because I don't have the skill to play certain instruments that way. I don't play guitar, but I'm hearing hella guitar parts on the song. Once the person comes in, I find that person, I'm going to tell them what I want to hear, and then we collaborate.
I am that person.
It's funny, like you guys, just listening to this, I guess I'm a different person in the room because I function as a group regularly. Because you guys are all solo people.
Oh yeah, We Dope, yeah.
We Dope is a group, so we're naturally a collaborative process. We've always been collaborating since day one, so it's just like, we have to try to do things on our own at some point because we forget that we can. And we're like, that's why Kofi's got a bunch of projects coming out now because like when he finally comes up for air, he's just like, oh yeah, I used to do this. Let's just do this. But it's funny because we look at it now, like we approach every project by everybody's going to do what they love doing on the record. And then versus the bigger projects, the more probably the money projects, it's like everyone's going to do what they've mastered the skill-wise on the record. So, and that's where we normally get to that point. So like, but for me, I happen to be like what I feel like I've mastered in production is also my favorite thing to do. So a lot of times, even when I work on my own stuff privately, I just like, in my mind, once I'm really done with what I really want to do, I don't lose interest. I'm just ready to now pass it on, unless I actually finished it. Sometimes you can finish it. It's like, oh, it needs something else. But a lot of times it's like, all right, and that's when you hear the song, or somebody else will hear the song, and I'm just like,
y'all are interesting in that way actually, because it's almost your instinct. Like there have been times where I've like done a track with either you or Kofi, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna pass it off to Carl, and I'll be like, wait. Why? Or like, you'd be like, I'm gonna pass it off to Kofi. It's like, why? But it's like it's your instinct to be like, how can I elevate this to another level? Whereas to me, I'm like, it's done.
Even when
you know what I'm saying?
When we first started doing song jams, I was like, I'm gonna just send this over. He'll send it to me back in the morning with a better top mix. And he's just like, I don't think it needs a mix.
It's just literally, but that's your instinct.
But it's
which is tight.
It's a reflex. I was like, oh, I guess it don't. It's only 45 seconds. It sounds okay.
Which is tight, bro.
Like,
and it's also just for social media. And I was just like, oh, Kofi would tighten up this kick right quick though. Let me just. Nah, it's fine. And then you overthink it. But it's after 12 years, 13, 14 years. Damn.
80 years. Girl.
Damn, it's 14 years.
80 years.
God. Anyway. I mean, it's a lot of reflexes. So it's nice because now we're getting back into a space because we're now getting back into the space of like what it was 12 years ago where we could actually work on individual projects and then whatever, pass them along or don't. But we're just getting back to that space, which is nice. Yeah. But what I was going to say, you said some other stuff earlier to me that I really understood, which was interesting because you're just like, at this time, what speaks to you as far as what you are as writing and did you say writing and singing or writing and performing?
Singing.
Writing and singing.
Yeah.
So since you've been here in the States, what have you found most difficult about doing that here? Like, if you find anything difficult at all?
I would say it's the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When I moved to LA, which I didn't intend to, I was supposed to be here for a couple of months in the summer in 2021.
Yeah.
Just to, finish projects and work on songs and stuff. And then I was supposed to go back. And then, 1 month became 2 months became 3. And then I ended up signing a lease for a house. And I was like, I guess I'll live here now.
Okay.
And it's finding the right people. And this is not that I didn't have the right people back home. My focus back home was always, okay, I guess I'm the producer. So I'll just like write the song, produce the song, and have someone sing my story, so to speak. That has been the case a lot. And then I started singing more records, but I was just like, I'm going to sing the hook a little bit together, like duets and stuff. When I got to LA, unknowingly, I started doing sessions. I got to give a shout out to Bijou, who is also the co-writer and the producer on The Process, who I wrote the original part of The Process with before me and you got to work on that record. I remember recording The Process, and Bijou was like, Craig, you sound way too smooth while singing this record. Because I was like, you got your options. I was doing it breathy and area. And then he said, it's a fun record. It's about your freedom and just enjoying your life. He said, smile while you record it. And I've never recorded a record smiling. And I literally went, you got your options. And it opened up like a new kind of like tone in the voice. I've never used that on a record. And at first I was like, you sure, bro? And he's like, record the whole record smiling. And I did the verses, like, you don't know it's gotta be that, the entire record. I have videos somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah, so thank you. Granted, the experiences help. Being in a new place, experiencing new things, you're gonna write different music.
Right.
So I think that has changed. And also being in a space where I know everybody's trying to do that thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting thing about LA.
And not to say that back home being Amsterdam, which is one of my homes, people don't like, there's so many incredible people I work with, so many talented people, I think I just needed something else.
Yeah.
Right.
That was just a personal choice for me.
No, that's great, man.
And every time I came to LA for a couple of weeks, I would leave and I would feel so shitty.
Yeah.
Man.
Wow.
But also, I was looking at it through like, the pink shades type thing. Everything's like, whoa, it's LA, it's Hollywood. And because every time I would be here, people that did know me in the industry were like, oh, Craig's here for like a week, like pull up. So, you end up doing a lot in a span of 3 weeks. And I'll be like, man, I was at this person's studio and then I met that person. And then we had dinner and such was with us. And so you live this Hollywood life. But when I moved here, I realized the thing that I realized, and then I had to really set a boundary with myself while moving to LA and living here now, is letting go of the whole FOMO situation. Because there's a party every day where you can meet someone and network. There's an event where the person you've been trying to work with is going to be there, and there's the celebs, and there's the opportunities there 24/7. There's probably 50 parties going on right now as we're sitting here where we could go and meet the person that could possibly. And I think at some point, like I did that for like 3 months. I was socially exhausted.
Yeah.
Anxiety, like just frustration. And then I also realized that often I have a lot of people's numbers from people that I've been trying to work with on this level to like that level to like celebrities. And, like we all are in those rooms where you can meet the famous people, the less famous people, the this or that, right? I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to what do you really do with it and how do you go about it?
Yeah.
You can I've hit up a lot of people like, yo, we should work. And they're like, cool, let's do it. When are you available? Cool, I'll let you know. But you know what changed?
Yeah.
When I released music, some of those people hit me up now.
Yeah.
Like, hey, bro, can you do a hook? Or can you do this? Can you, like, what are we working? So at the end of the day, I think as much as the industry is great to network, for me, it was about finding the right people.
Yeah.
I don't really care about who's famous, who's not famous. It's a good look to have someone on your project that's big or the other way around. But at the end of the day, it's not about that for me. I just want to create from the heart something that's going to touch people. And if it happens to be with someone this or that, then we'll cross that bridge there.
So you actually started releasing singles December 2022.
Yes.
And you had the record, I Will Be Okay, Baby.
Exactly.
Which is you know what I'm saying? It's my style. So my question for you is, it feels like you're telling a story. It feels like it's in chronological order from Baby to The Process. You know, is this like an autobiographical process for you, or is
100%? All of the songs are about me and my life and my experiences, or about other people that I've experienced in whatever way. Baby was a breakup song that I wrote after, you know, a relationship not working out, and it was a very difficult moment in my life where I was like, man, like, and it wasn't just like, oh, you know, we dated for 2 months. It was like years. So it was definitely autobiographical. I wrote it from the heart. And at the time, I remember sitting in the studio with Malia, and I said, listen, I can make something. It was our first time meeting and working together. And I told her, we can make something. I'll give you like a dope full crate today to work with.
Yeah.
Or we can talk about what I'm going through right now and try to tap into that. And she was like, what are you going through? I was like, I just broke up with my girl not too long ago, and I'm really going through it. You know, just because I broke up, it didn't mean that it was going to be as easy. Like I was hurt. I was heartbroken. And then she was kind enough to create a safe space, and we just wrote the record and recorded, you know, the whole song, I think in 2 sessions. And funny enough, it's a conversation I have with my ex, where she literally said, when we were breaking up, she said, listen, if you go through that door, don't bother coming back.
Right.
If you're sure about that decision. And that's a line on the record, you know, like it sounds different, but that like the truth of it is on there. And the same thing with like, yo, if that's what you want, I'm not going to hold you back.
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay. You're going to be all right. And that's the hook. I'm going to be okay, baby. You're going to be all right. We should go our separate ways. Won't tell you how to live your life. It was a conversation with my ex. So I love creating records based off of my true emotions, because there's some concept records. And me and you made conceptual records that haven't been released yet, but we worked on records that was like, oh, this is like a concept song that we can work on. Yeah. And I enjoy doing those too, but I think my best creative process is when I create from the heart. And it doesn't have to be my story, it could be your story, but if I can tap into the same emotion.
You can connect with it.
Yeah, so going from a heartbreak song to having fun, you know, being single and exploring what does that mean for me with the process now. You know, the process stands for realizing that putting pressure on any type of relationship is not necessarily the best thing to do.
I'm mad I haven't heard the song yet. Because
it came out yesterday.
It came out yesterday.
That is 24 whole hours.
What's the stream count right now, bro?
Yeah, let me see.
I think we passed like 10 or 11,000,
hey,
which is great. It's a great start. I'm not complaining at all. I'm really,
y'all humble.
Hey.
Yeah,
that's nice. In 24 hours.
Yeah,
that's real.
Sheesh,
that's fire.
That's good, man.
What did you think when I first played you the record? Be honest.
I was, bro. So you know a little bit about me. Like I'm in. You know, it's very common for me to be in like 3 sessions a week. You know, doing a lot of different stuff for TV, stuff for film. And I would say I would give it an even 50% of the time it's like creatively stimulating. And the other 50, it's like we're hitting these marks. You know what I'm saying? Coming into a session with you, bro, was so refreshing. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
It was like, because I really didn't know what I was getting myself into for real. Like I had heard your records, but like I didn't know what the specific agenda was for that day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just knew Chris was like, yo, you got to link with my boy. You know what I'm saying? When you played the track, you remember, bro, like you played the track and I was immediately like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm going to have a good time. Not even really being like totally cognizant of like concept or anything, just feel, just instrumentation, just top line melody. I immediately had I had rhythm already. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I immediately had kind of like my flow pattern going on. So, bro, it was, I can honestly say when it happened, I was like, this is going to be fire.
Yeah.
You know, and people always say, a lot of times say like, oh, I don't know what's going to pop off, or like, I don't know what's going to, I feel like I actually had that feeling. You know what I'm saying? If there was ever a time where I had that intangible feeling of like, oh, this is about to be fire, it was when you played the track.
Now, was that the first track he played that day, or was it like...
It was the only track he played.
No, he was there specifically to be on that song.
Oh, good.
Because I was working on that record, and I knew I wanted someone to do a fire-ass rhyme on the second verse.
Okay.
And I initially had someone else, and that didn't work out. So I have an open verse, and I'm like, man, I need somebody on a verse. And I was in a session with one of our mutual friends, Chris, and Chris is like, yo, I think my boy Jordan would kill this. And I was like, text him.
Shout out Chris Davis.
Hey.
Shout out Chris Davis. So he texted him, boom, boom, boom. I think the same week or the week after that, I did a session with him. Because for me, if I'm eager to finish a record, I'm not going to sit here and wait. I'm proactive with my work and my creations. So I hit up Jordan. He was open to it. He pulled up and I said, this is the thing. Already had somebody on it. Didn't work out. All love. Let me know what you think. I played it and it's like, went exactly the way he said. He heard it. You know, he wrote that record so fast. Like he wrote his part so fast.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I do remember telling you that it shouldn't all be, you should sing halfway.
Yeah. That's I wrote like a full 16 bar rap. And that's, Clef knows, like my general rule of thumb is like, if I'm working with a singer, I'm rapping. If I'm working with a rapper, I'm singing. Like that's just been the way I've always navigated. So my natural thought was like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna sing on this record. So when you said like,
oh yeah,
hey bro, like honestly, I'm bored of the rap 8 bars in. I want to say it was 8 bars
I didn't say I was bored. It was more so that I heard you sing, and I'm like, man, I'm not gonna say no to that.
Yeah,
you know, and there was a way,
rapping.
and also
Stop.
No, but I love. Listen, we're gonna talk about his rhyme in a second. But we also had a pre-hook, and I gotta give a shout out to Abo, who Abo and Bijou, both of them, like they co-produced the record with me.
Y'all got me so hyped to hear this song. I'm like excited. I'm like, all right.
I don't know how you ain't heard it yet.
The pre-hook, the pre-hook part was so dope and musical.
Yeah,
I felt like, yo, it deserves more than the rhyme that he initially did. And then we started writing that pre-hook thing, and he sang, and it was like, boom. That's it. And to go back to what I said about the way he wrote.
Yeah.
Did we count how many times you say the word couple?
A couple times.
Can you do the rhyme? I want to count.
We could play house for a couple days, or to take out, have a couple days. We could run it for a couple rounds, hit a couple shows. We ain't got to be a couple though. Look, single with couple and sentence. That's 6.
6 times.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody use the same word 6 times in such a short flow. And when he was doing it, first of all, Jordan works in a very dope way, which I've never seen. He sits behind his laptop like he's about to do your taxes.
Yeah, I do that too. I do that too, and I know it's
I was trying to get pictures of him doing that stuff. For like, he was like, "Why you use that picture?" I was like, "Cause that's the element."
No.
Like, you get there, be like,
it's weird. Okay, I didn't know you do that.
Listen,
I do that, and I'm just able to go so fast and edit. I can like write and edit.
This is what you have to understand. I've never worked with this guy before.
Yeah.
Jordan comes into his session. I play him the song. He loves the song. I tell him what the deal is. He sits down, and it literally went like this. He opens up his laptop. He says, "Play it," and I played the loop. And we talked about what the record's supposed to be about, what the theme is. And I played him the loop, and he's just like,
yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
What's up? And types, and very quickly after that, he was like, "I got it."
And
then he demoed me the thing, and I was like, "Bro, you snap, like you wild for this." So it was a pleasure working with you because I learned a lot from. I mean, we already worked on more records than there's that record, but that was just like, wait, records can be made like that.
And likewise, bro, because I think one of the things that I remember about that is, you know, while it's like you affirmed it, you were like, yo, this is tight. You know what I'm saying? But there was still, which I crave vocal production. I love when people are like, I hear you as an instrument, and you know what I'm saying? And I want to place it in this register. And I remember initially I did it on some like cool shit. I was like, we could play house for a couple of days. And you're like, yo, man, like that's tight. But I feel like I want that animated energy, which no one ever really says. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, animated energy. Yeah. I'm like, my favorite rapper growing up was Ludacris. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm all about that energy. So when you said that, I was like, oh, this is dope to work with someone who's giving me feedback. To the same point about me writing the full 16, you being like, I feel like right here, like we could challenge this next, you know, these next 4 bars. I feel like, or these next 8 bars, we can make it melodic. You know what I'm saying? We can flex these. So it was a really dope back and forth process of like, building it out, you know what I'm saying? Versus like me just being in my zone.
I just love creating. That to me is my favorite thing about creation. When I'm creating with other people, I want the both of us to get the best out of each other.
Yeah.
You know, because I want us to create something that neither one of us would have made on our own.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then it defeats the point. I mean, sometimes it's just cool to kick it with your friends and create stuff. But when it comes to like actually creating a musical product, if me and you make a record, I want it to be something that we couldn't have made unless we worked together.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was that thing. And I love vocal producing, and I love, you know, I don't have roles. If Jordan would tell me like, yo, change that snare, and if it makes sense, I'm not going to be like, but I'm doing, like, I don't care. There's no roles for me in sessions. We create. Sometimes I go into a session as the producer and I end up singing a hook. That was a fire session. I look forward to hearing what the world and these guys think of the record.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all know as soon as we done. I'm listening to it. In my car.
No, you gotta watch the video.
I'm listening to it.
Watch the
Calvin
video.
let you know. He was like, so I listened.
Yo, I don't even know if you remember this, Calvin. My first experience, one of my like first experiences that I remember, we were working out of the studio in Burbank. And Calvin came into a session with Mitty and I. Yeah.
I'm so scared.
Like this is back in like 20.
Wait, I was there?
No, you weren't there.
But he just walked in.
I don't even remember how he ended up crashing our session.
You were there. That's because that's where Dupree was. That's the place he was at.
I don't know.
But this is one of my first encounters with him.
That's the same studio.
And I just remember
the same studio.
I remember him coming in and we were working. I'm not even gonna say I know the exact record that we worked on. And it was fine. Like I didn't take it personally because I worked on the whole thing. So if you like, I wrote the whole thing because at that time it was like Mitty was doing all the production, I was doing all the top line lyrics.
Right.
So I just remember being like, well, whatever he likes about it, I did it. You know what I'm saying? So that's cool. But I'll never forget, and I don't think you knew that I did the rap feature on the verse on top of doing the demo for the artist. And I remember like we're playing a song, you vibing or whatever, and then my verse starts. And I just remember something like kind of just shifting in you, because I'm always looking at the corner of my eye for people's like reactions. And at the end of the song, you were like, yo, the song is fire, but like the rap though? like who is that? And I just remember being like, oh, that's me. That's my rap. He's like, oh, yeah, man. That didn't do it for me.
Very mighty honest of you.
And that's the moment I knew. I was like, oh, this guy, there's no cap in him whatsoever. There was no like reversal.
So I'm better now. I'm better. I've learned.
Granted, this was like 2014, maybe 2015 or something.
Studio etiquette now.
Bro,
you don't have to do that.
You kind of talked about earning your stripes earlier, you know what I'm saying? And getting to a point where you're like, yo, like I'm at a place where, you know, I can open this up to other creatives and stuff like that. I'm curious to know, because you are, you know, a decorated producer. You do have actual cuts with like actual household names. What is your favorite accomplishment? That's part one. And then two, what is success to you?
Ooh, I love that question. What's my favorite accomplishment? I think it has to be categorized depending on
That's fair.
What's my favorite remix or what's my favorite original? What's my favorite song written for me or for someone else? I'd say one of the earlier ones that really still stands out for me was doing a remix for Beyonce, which was like one of the first. I did a remix for Jessie J, an official remix. And then I think that opened the door to do an official remix for Beyonce, which I've done 2. One of them got released. The second one, they pulled the plug on the whole remix project around the singles. It was for EXO.
Oh,
but then
we
already sent the remix to certain platforms, and at the time, the platform that I'm still a fan of, the platform Majestic Casual on YouTube, they would post a lot of amazing music with a beautiful image, and they just posted the remix.
Oh,
so initially it was kind of leaked, but not really, and man, that shit took off.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that like doing the official remix for Beyonce was definitely one of the early where I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Man, having my music in Rihanna's having my songs in Rihanna's Savage Fanny show 2 years in a row. Shout out Paris Goebel for doing that, because I know it went through her, She's doing the creative direction and the choreography on those shows. So that, those are amazing moments. But there's also been a lot of moments of, me producing a record on D-Smoke's album.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a fan. So, when a mutual homie, J-Mo, who I co-produced the record with, and Abo as well, J-Mo hit me up saying like, yo, one of the beats we made and, D-Smoke's on. I was like, what? So those moments are really, really cool. There's a lot. Remember we were talking about the first beats I've ever made, like in Reason and stuff? One of those first beats, which ended up being my first song, which I released in 2009, I want to say.
Yeah.
10 years after that release, which is the first song I've ever dropped, ended up in a Netflix show that is now the Emmy, they won an Emmy.
That's
so it's just like,
yeah, man.
Songs live forever in sync, man. It's just like,
and you don't know what's gonna happen when.
No idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the way music supervisors work. They don't hear time.
Nah, there's like, does this song work for the project that we're looking for? That is actually a good way to look at how I create music. I don't want to create a hit. I want to make music that could be timeless.
Yeah.
Right.
And if it happens to be a classic, I mean, everybody wants to make a classic.
Everybody needs.
I don't want to make a hit. I want to make music that just can be timeless.
Yeah.
And
bro,
that's the way I look at music. I still want to answer that question that you asked about.
What is success to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is success to me? I think my vision on what success is kind of separated in different categories. What is personal success? What is professional success? What is relationship success? I think success has nothing to do with numbers to me.
Okay.
Because a lot of people think you're successful because you have the numbers or the accolades or whatever. To me, success is what internal goals did you make for yourself? And if you achieve those goals, and it could literally be as simple as, I wanted to learn how to use Logic. I want to learn how to record a song. I want to learn how to take a picture with a camera. And if you did that, to me, that's a form of success. Now, there's different layers of success. Some people look at it from financial point. I think, coming from not knowing how to go about money.
Yeah.
I don't come from money. None of my family members are rich, So once I started making money and being comfortable with the money that I'm making, that was weird.
Yeah.
Like, me and him have a song that we wrote together for my project that I sing called Money Issues. And I might be doing a little sneak peek now, but fuck it.
I wasn't gonna say nothing, but now that you did,
Cat's out of the bag.
And on that record, I talk about, this is the most amount of money I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
And I still have money issues. Like, ain't that a bitch? But it's not because I don't have money. It's just I don't know how to be financially smart. So that was like one day I was like, I just don't know how to go about my money. Now I've been really focused on how can I be financially smart.
Yeah.
And I think there's different layers of success. For me, running my own label. For me, owning my own masters is a form of success.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the money that the masters make. It's great. The money that's being made is great.
Great.
But it's the fact that I own majority of my masters. That's success to me. maintaining my friendships with people and relationships with people is success. Being kind to people generally is a form of success. Not everybody's successful that way.
That's very true.
I don't know, man. And knowing how to navigate in situations where you don't know the solution, but being okay with that space is also a form of success. Just understanding like, yo, I might not, being comfortable with not knowing. Exactly. Yeah. So those are, but yeah, initially, of course, everybody wants to say like the numbers, you know, bro, I started with 100 streams on Spotify and I was so happy about it.
Man, ecstatic.
You know? I'm almost at 100 million streams now.
Yeah. It's that gratitude, boy.
Yeah. Hard work, amazing team.
Yeah.
Beautiful people that believe in me all around. Everybody I work with, I learned so much. I can't do this on my own.
No.
My brother, it's been real.
Super
You know what I'm saying?
This was really dope.
We definitely delved deep. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? I want to conclude on a lighter note, bro. I want people, like, honestly, no music involved. Like, I want people to know you. You know what I'm saying? So, we're going to do 2 truths and a lie. I want you to tell us 3 things about yourself.
I did not know about this. This is
fun.
I
want you to tell us 3 things about yourself. One of them has to be a lie, but we have to guess which one is the lie.
So I'm saying 3 things.
So you have to say 3 things about yourself. 2 of them have to be true. 1 has to be a lie.
One has to be a lie.
But we're up to us to guess which one is the lie.
This is great. Thank you for this.
2 truths and a lie. Got it.
2 truths, 1 lie. One time I almost got stabbed. I did not break my nose 6 times.
Mm.
I have never been to Mexico.
Dang it. Okay, yeah, these are good.
These are good. I'm going to guess. Can I just go ahead and guess what's the lie?
Don't explain why. Don't explain why, please.
Oh, no explanation?
Yeah, just give your answer.
For some reason, it feels like you've never been to Mexico. I'm going to say that's the lie. I'm going to say the other 2 are true.
Okay, that's it. Don't confirm. Carl. Okay, whatever.
So you said the lie is?
Because that would be, the lie is you've never been to Mexico, because that just feels like
Don't explain it. Jesus. Jeez Louise, man.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Calvin.
I'm sorry. Okay. What were the 3 again? Sorry.
So, one time I almost got stabbed. I did not break my nose 6 times, and I've never been to Mexico.
I just want to say this one. I don't know if it's true or not, but I want to say that the lie is that you did not break your nose 6 times. I'm going to say that's the lie. And so the truth of that would be that you did break your nose 6 times, and you did, that would be the truth. And then you have never gone to Mexico, and you did almost get stabbed or something.
So which one is the lie?
So I believe that the lie is that you did not break your nose 6 times.
So then you believe that I did break my nose 6 times.
Yes.
That's a lie. Okay.
Oh, actually, you know what? I'm sorry.
No, don't.
No, I messed up on my own answer. I messed up on my own answer. Swear to God. Because like when I just thought about it, I was like, oh, wait, no, that don't make no sense. Yeah, I'm sorry. So the truth is that I feel like you've never been to Mexico. Okay, got you. Okay, so you could.
Because you said there's 2 truths.
2 truths and a lie.
One is a lie.
I messed up
Which one is the lie? Because
he chose one of the truths.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I actually also feel like the lie is you have not broken your nose 6 times, because that's very specific.
Okay.
Okay. Carl. Clef.
This is hard for me because I want to choose Mexico, but I'm going to choose stabbed.
Stabbed?
Yeah, that you haven't.
So the both of you choose. The lie is that I did not break my nose 6 times, and you say the lie is that I was never almost stabbed.
Yeah,
gotcha. The lie is the nose thing.
Yes,
because I did break my nose 6 times.
Yes,
and how did that happen?
Did almost get stabbed once.
Wait,
and I've never been to Mexico.
No, just let him finish cooking. Go ahead.
I think I misunderstood what you mean about.
You probably did, but
I
it's
said,
fine.
Okay.
I almost got stabbed once.
Mm-hmm.
I did not break my nose 6 times, and I've never been to Mexico. Truths, I've never been to Mexico, and I've almost got stabbed once. Lie, I did not break my nose because I did break my nose 6 times.
You did not break your nose 6 times.
Yeah.
So the way you phrased that
No,
actually
you
is
said
what
it perfectly correctly.
No, because
we have it on video.
I would have chose that a lot easier because it's very specific to not doing something.
But I could have also said I did not break my nose 5 times.
Boom. Bless, man.
Man, great.
Whoa.
It's been real.
This was fun.
It's been amazing.
Thank you so much for coming through.
For
you know
sure.
what I'm saying? Thank you for being a great creative. Thank you for being a great human, man. And thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Sir.
Thank you for setting a very high bar for any guest with Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Who gonna top this?
I'm sure you guys can find people. I'm not worried about
they gonna be trapped. But this was like very good. Like, of course you want to start off with a blast, but now it's like, ooh, dang, should have maybe.
You'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Jeez, thank you. Seriously.
Nah,
man.
thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Nah, thank you,
sir.
dude. You're amazing.
Love it.